before it's over. All right, good. Okay, so my name is Claire Marie Boggiano. Some of you may be able to tell from my accent, I'm not originally from Manchester, though this is now my Manc accent. When I go home, I sound Manc. I'm originally from Belfast in Northern Ireland, and I'll just tell you a little bit about me before we jump into the topic. I came to Manchester over 30 years ago now to study engineering. So I'm sort of a boy who can break things. And I came from an all-girls Catholic grammar school and joined my engineering class of 100 people. How many do you think were women? There was an educated guess, 6, so 6%. How many? 2? Higher, lower? 4? Okay, you're all making very well-educated guess. There was one girl in my class. And I remember the first day coming in and all the boys were looking at you and I'm looking at all the boys going, oh, is that it? Is that, and I'm watching, I'm thinking I must have a friend in here somewhere. Is that it? Is that it? And little did I know, they were all looking at me going, is that it? So it was a very interesting 4 years and I learned a lot, not necessarily about engineering actually, but I learned a lot about boys and how they work, how they operate. And I'm telling you now, they are just better bluffers. That's the only difference. They're just better bluffers. I mean, there's a lot of reasons why society conspires, etc., and encourages. But the ones I met are just as scared. And you know, we heard earlier about feeling the fear. And I think one of the things that happens is when you feel the fear, boys and men are more likely to step forward into the fear, and women and girls are more likely to step back from it. And that's, and a lot of it's conditioning, it's not conscious, it's not, so, you know, see when you feel that feeling, see when you feel that fear, just go, oh, I'm feeling that, I've been feeling again, and then go, and step into it, step forward, something exciting will happen. Okay, so I've got the slot that's about politics and why you should care. Hands up who loves the word politics. Hands up who's in politics. Hands up who wants to be in politics. Okay, so we have a few people. 1% back here, coming down to the politics students. Can somebody, it doesn't have to be you, can somebody tell me what is politics?
It's everything.
It's everything, like what?
Everything. Your policy, your life. There's politics in this room right now going on.
It is everything, isn't it?
That's why I'm saying everybody. If you're in an office place and you feel you've got your different cliques and the people excluded and the people who move, in every part of our life, even in our families, there's politics.
Good, I'm glad you come up with the same answer as me, because otherwise we'd be snookered for the rest of the next half hour. So, politics. So what I wanted to talk to you about was, what is politics? And why should we care? And I think we've got the answers to those questions already. It's everything. And why we should care is because we're all affected by it. So all decisions that are made, whether it's at a big political level, or a local community level, or a classroom level, or even in the house. I mean, I don't know what your family's like, but my family have some really interesting politics going on. And what I'd like to share with you is, I actually want to change the word. I actually don't like the word politics. I'm not sure if you're allowed to say that. And use the word activism instead. And activism, it's a pretty interesting word actually, because it's suggesting that something might happen, you know, to be active. And activism is about doing something purposefully to help something change. Is that a good enough definition? Okay, so how many people are activists in this room? Oh, way more than politicians. Right. How many people want to be activists? Yeah? How many people want to hear a bit more and then they'll decide if they're going to be an activist later? Cool. Okay. Alice Walker has a great quote. She's lots of great quotes, actually. Activism is the rent I pay for living on the planet. Now, that sounds like a pretty good deal, actually. We all get to live on the planet, and then we all get to do something to make something change, something happen. So we're going to take her quote, and we're just going to bank that, remember it. So what activists do you know? Who are these people up here? Who's on the top left? Gandhi. What did he do? What did he do? He campaigned for the decolonisation of India. So he made a lot of stuff up, and he started pretty much on his own originally and galvanised a whole nation. Who's on the top right? Rosa Parks. What did Rosa Parks do? She refused to give up her seat. Is that right? And then she just went home and it all stopped, or not? No, that small initial act was part of a much bigger thing happening, isn't that right? Who's on the bottom right-hand side? Martin Luther King. What did he do? He's a pretty big activist, is that right? He was. And who's on the bottom left? Emmeline Pankhurst. And Emmeline Pankhurst is a very proud Manchester woman, isn't she? Stockport, Manchester High School girls. And how many people in the room have been to the Pankhurst Centre? How many people know where it is? It's at the MRI of Oxford Road. How many people are about to do it within the next 6 months on Sharon's to-do list? Yeah, there's another action for your to-do list. So they're pretty well-known activists from history. Point it that way. Hello. And who said this? Deeds, not words. Where did this come from? This was the marketing logo, or marketing strapline, of the suffragettes. Deeds, not words. Think about it. How many words do you hear? Everybody chit-chatting. How many meetings have you been to where, you know, you could have floated a hot air balloon and then you come out and nothing happens? Or is that just my world? Does that happen in anybody else's world? So it's about the deeds, it's about the action that you take. Let's think of some modern day activists. Who's that on the top left-hand side? And what's she on about? Yeah? What's she on about? So Greta Thunberg. Does everybody know Greta Thunberg in the room? See her? She's a little bit concerned about climate change, and what did she do? She bumped off school. Is that a Manchester term or is that a Belfast term? She skipped school and sat outside. And this is one of her early pictures. How many people were in her gang that first one? It was just her. It was one person taking an action. How many people do we see now in those regular climate change marches all over the world? Thousands, millions. How long did that take? I think it's about 18 months, is it? Sandy, you probably know better than me. It's not 24 months. That's what one person can do. Who's that on the bottom left-hand side? Malala. What did she do? So Greta was busy skipping school, and Malala wanted girls to go to school. She got attacked for going to school. In our house, I get attacked if I don't go to school. And again, one person just said, enough. I don't know what I can do, but I can do something. And who's that on the bottom right-hand side? You? Or you? Yeah. So this is the I'm Spartacus moment, yeah? Who's Spartacus? And sometimes you might think, me? Little old weak me? What could I do? Like I can just about get myself up every day and out, go to work. But if you think you are too small to make a difference, who's volunteering to sleep in the tent with the mosquito? Can you imagine how much hell you can raise if you were a mosquito? Think of yourself as mosquitoes, taking on just a wee bite, you know? Now, we've seen one great activist from Manchester, but there are many. I know there are many in the room, because you've already told me. Okay, what am I doing wrong here again? Oh, double. So here are some local activists I've had the privilege of meeting and playing with. On the top left-hand side, it says Women in the Law up there. And Sally Penny, who's the black girl on the side, who was also a barrister. I know, Sharon, you probably know Sally really well, don't you? And she was sick of being, such a low level of women and such a low level of black or Asian minority ethnic women. And she went, you know what? I'm going to get all my friends together who are in the law, who happen to be women, and we're going to do something. And now she runs an amazing conference every year. She runs regular events. It started in Manchester. It started 1 or 2 things a year. 4 or 5 years later, she's in all over the, well, not she's a whole network of ambassadors that run Women in the Law events across the country. So if anybody's interested in that, please Google it. Feel free to talk to me afterwards, but it's something that has been very transformative. And there's a lot more work to do, but it's amazing what one person can make happen. Below that, Smartworks. Has anybody heard of Smartworks? Has anyone used it? Yes. Tell us what Smartworks is.
Smartworks is for women who are attending interviews, whether it's to go into business or whether it's to go, to find a job. They provide you with good quality, sometimes new or sometimes slightly second clothes that are well fitted, and it's just, I've got a photograph somewhere of me in a suit that I got from Smartworks, and I'm really pleased with it, and I highly encourage it. If you're struggling and you don't have the funds to buy an outfit for networking and something like that, my suggestion is you contact Smartworks and see what they can do. They really are a useful organisation for, basically helping women to get on. And you actually get, when I went, I had a meeting with someone and she asked me practice interview questions to enable me to actually cope with the actual real thing. So, highly recommend them.
Great, thank you. That's great advertising. And that it's got the 2 prongs. So one is helping you physically get dressed, but also helping prepare you for some coaching to go in for an interview. So it's great. And just this year, a few weeks ago, they launched, I'm pretty sure, but do check it, every Wednesday they have a pop-up stall in Manchester Library, and it's the corridor bit on the side of the Royal Library, and it's probably a special name for that, but they have a pop-up store. I'm pretty sure it's every Wednesday. Top right-hand side, another friend of mine, Caroline Whitehead. I'm just going to check this. Who knows Caroline Whitehead? She knows everyone in the world. Yeah, quite a lot. Caroline's in the top left-hand side of that, and she was just not impressed by the percentage of women that were on Wikipedia. And so she decided to do something about it, and she got a whole load of people together, mostly women, and they had what she called a wiki-editathon, at the Pankhurst Centre, and they created more entries for women on Wikipedia. And I think, I mean, there's a bit to go here. I think it was at about 17 or 18% of entries were about women. It might have gone up to 19%, but there's more work to do on this.
Can I just add to that? And I think it's really important that actually you can do whatever you can to actually get people on there, get women on there, because we're the only ones that can speak for ourselves. You know, if you look in the bookshop, the majority of books are written by men. I've nothing against men, but we need to adjust the balance so that we have representation as well.
Indeed. And then in the bottom right-hand side, you can see that's our Emily, the statue in Manchester. How many people have been down for their own personal selfie with this? That is so not enough. We should be doing a group selfie down there. And so Andrew Simcock, who's the guy in the middle, he was the person that noticed in Manchester, there were, of all the statues, and I can't remember the figures, if anybody knows them, there was only one of a woman, and I think it was Queen Victoria. So he did the fundraising and everything to raise this. Right. So, please work, please. So if you want something you've never had, you need to do something you've never done. And my challenge to you today, I'm not giving you a job, I'm not giving you a list where I'm going to beat you up in 6 months' time, but I am giving you the opportunity for you to think about what is it that you care about. And the more local it can be, the more it's about you, or the people you know, or the community you're in, the more you're likely to know the answer, because you're close to it. So something you really care about. So I really, if we had an hour session, this is where you do your breakout bit and talk to the person beside you and write down this. But if you know what that is already, write it down now while you're doing that. And again, it might really genuinely feed into the SMART objective list that Sharon gave you earlier. And here's a little bit of advice about making change happen. I mean, I specialise in change management. That's what I do now. I work with companies and individuals to make change happen. And I think this is a really good piece of advice if you want something to happen. If you want to go fast, go alone. And if you want to go far, go together. So, you know, once you find you're passionate about something you want to make happen, you will find other people, and working together, you're likely to go further. So I'm just going to finish off with some things that I know about that are happening in Manchester. There is loads more stuff happening, loads, but this is just some of the stuff I'm involved in. The things that I suppose I'm an activist about. So there's a group called GM for Women, and they have got a 10-year project measuring the impact on women across Manchester. This is the second year, and on the 6th of February, for people that are interested in data and deeds and determination, there's an event. And Helen Pankhurst there, she's involved in that, and it's a scorecard looking at safety and education and culture and the sort of distribution of power for women. So if that's something you're interested in, please come and see me. And at 2 o'clock, there will be a gag. You will be able to get your selfie with Emily and a few others on that date. Another thing that's happening, and I'm so hoping I'm going to see all of you there. So I'm involved in Manchester City Council's International Women's Day steering group. For the last 30 years, Manchester has celebrated International Women's Day, which we all know is on the 8th of March. Well done back there. And this is the third year that Manchester is celebrating with a walk for women. And it's actually on the 7th. I think it's to do with football, but I'm just not even going to open that box. And they're meeting at Cathedral Gardens at 12, and starting the walk at 12:30 up to St Peter's Square and in the library. And there's going to be stuff happening in the library, performances, information, other stuff that I can't remember. And they are looking for groups of people to come and be part of the walk. So whether that's a community group, professional group, any youth group, anything. And I want us to come and make lots and lots of noise and be part of that. So again, if you're interested, please let me see. As you know, my background's engineering. If anybody's interested in a women returners thing, there's something happening at the end of March, and WISE is a Women in Science and Engineering network you can connect with. The walk is from Cathedral Gardens to the library, so how long is that? It's about a mile max? Yeah, we reckon. It's not even a mile, yeah. And then we started at the beginning of this session, this is the end, sort of not comfortable with the word politics, and yet we're all happy to be activists. Now I'm really hoping some of you in the room will want to go into politics, whether it's local community politics or Manchester politics or national. And I don't know if you know, but there's a movement called 50-50 Parliament. Has anybody heard of this? And they're actively working across the whole of the UK to encourage more women into politics of any persuasion. So again, if you're on Twitter or social media, ask her to stand in 50-50 Parliament Project. They're running workshops in the next month or two for women that are interested. So again, you can ask me, or local councillor Eve Holt manages these, so she would be a really good person to connect with. So, we will finish there. But I'd like to leave this other fantastic Alice Walker quote. The most common way people give up their power is by thinking they don't have any. Remember that mosquito. Get in there and take a bite.
Well done. Who's got any questions for Claire Marie? Who's going to now go and get involved in any of the things that Claire Marie's just talked about?
We're all on the walk.
Who's going to do the walk? Okay. Oh yeah, we've got a question about mentoring from earlier on that you were going to answer.
Yeah, what exactly was the question? It was about mentoring. Was it from over here? Yeah. What was it about in general? Yeah. So I'm very passionate about mentoring, and I have a very strong belief that everyone should be a mentor and have a mentor, at least one. And mentoring, sometimes you hear mentoring and coaching talked about the same, and I'm really conscious there are a load of coaches and mentors in the room, so if I say the wrong thing, this is just my version of reality. But somebody explained to me once that a coach is someone, I think of a sports coach or whatever, a coach is someone who asks you the questions, and a mentor is someone who you ask them the questions. I thought, that's quite clever actually. And so particularly you starting up your own business or making a career change, it can really be useful to find somebody who's either done what you want to do before or done something similar that you can learn from, and they are mentors. Coaches are people who work with you to help you do the thing. And if you don't know what the thing is, that's okay, because you can work with a coach and the coach can help you work out what is your thing. And it's really, but it's so interesting, because once you've worked out what the thing is, with confidence you can make more decisions. As well as a mentor and a coach, you should also have a sponsor. And a sponsor is the person, you'll find this a lot in organisational life, but I imagine it's true everywhere, is the person that will promote you when you're not in the room. So if an opportunity comes up, they're the person that says, oh, you should speak to so-and-so. They'd be great for that role or that job or whatever. So, you need a whole board of people helping you. Hopefully that helps.
Brilliant. Can we give Claire Marie a big round of applause?